promise me you will come back.
What if I can't?
The Odyssey. Christopher Nolan's new epic, filmed in IMAX for IMAX viewing as Nolan intended. It's totally worth it to have your eardrums blown out by Polyphemus' scream of agony. Oh boy, oh joy, Greek myths are back, baby! After the epic musical, that Hadestown Broadway spectacular, and now a gigantic cinematic event both in size and in length, Greek mythology nerds are eating. And as such a nerd, I am very, very well fed here. The Odyssey film is getting tremendous reviews. It's being labeled a massive cinematic achievement and has kind of become a meme. In that regard, I think it did its job very, very well. This is, on all accounts, an extremely good film. It is well shot, very well acted, and full of awesome practical set pieces and effects. Of course, it does have some flaws. I personally don't think it's nearly as good as people are letting on about, but that definitely seems to be the theme for this year for whatever reason, so I don't know. I do want to stress right out of the gate, I do think this is a very good movie. A great movie even. There are some amazing bits and scenes that I think are ridiculously good. My biggest gripe, though, is the pacing, but at the same time, this story is so huge and so bloated that even with the film cutting an incredibly large chunk of the source material out, it still needed to push at a breakneck pace in order to wrap up this whole epic story in under 3 hours, and it just barely managed it. And yeah, that means a good chunk of the Odyssey's story, at least half of it or so, is completely absent from this film. The Lotus Eaters are an Easter egg. Aeolus is gone. The gods are pretty much non-existent, and the film has a really strange fascination with telling Telemachus' story over his father Odysseus's, and with that, various iconic moments from the story are also boiled down to quick vignette scenes that fly by at a decently quick pace. Most of these I can forgive because they are scenes that audiences have seen countless times, depicted on the big screen or even the small screen in various TV shows, not even just Odyssey themed, but in general. These are classic stories that are retold constantly. Like sailing by the sirens or escaping the Cyclops. The Trojan War, thankfully, is a fantastic set piece that the film does return to several times, and frankly, it's amazing. It's the best part of the movie. I like it way more than any of the fantastical areas Odie visits otherwise. There are a few interesting decisions regarding the more fantastical elements of the epic that I quite like. However, I do think that they end up clashing with the overall vision the film is trying to convey. Thankfully, the morals and the lessons are kept intact. But as usual, I am getting way ahead of myself. So, what is the Odyssey even about? Well, kind of hard to describe. One of the most famous stories of all time here that has lended itself to various vocabulary word origins and idioms like between a rock and a hard place. If you remember grade school or middle school English, then you probably remember the Odyssey. The epic follows the misadventures of a general and king of Ithaca, Odysseus, as he leaves his wife Penelope and his son Telemachus to fight in the Trojan War. Upon victory, he seeks to return home only to disparage the gods and run into a variety of mythical monsters and witches and creatures as he struggles to keep his crew alive and make it home before his wife is forced to take on a suitor. I am sure many of you are very familiar with this story, either through reading it yourself or through various films and other media, or again, even the aforementioned Epic the Musical, which is everywhere right now. I'm actually excited to see a stage play of it. I know there was like a Spanish one, but it was a little strange, and I think it was bootleg. But anyway, because there are so many parts to the story, the pacing in the movie takes the biggest hit, and I feel like it's unavoidable, unfortunately. I was worried about it right at the start of the movie as the film rushes so quickly in the opening moments. The dialogue is dry, time flies by, and characters speak in incredibly dry, matter-of-fact, to-the-point dialogue that feels really unnatural and grating. I was squirming in my seat, ready to be bored out of my mind as this went on for a few minutes. Thankfully, after about 15 or so minutes, the film does relax and the pacing slows down. The dialogue then becomes more natural and it flows a lot better, and the actors are able to emote and stretch their skills. It is a lot of sudden setup, however, and sometimes that dry dialogue does kind of come back. There was one scene with Cersei in particular that felt really awkward, where she's just speaking the same lines that, oh, go here, do this, blah, blah, blah. It just didn't really match very well, but overall the rest works pretty well. It's just these moments that are sprinkled in. Another aspect that I quite like is that the film is told mostly non-linearly. It starts with Telemachus at the end of the Odyssey struggling to get word about his father, and then it starts to follow Odysseus as he's talking to Calypso about his past and slowly telling his story to her, while we as the audience jump around a bit from Telemachus's perspective to Odie's and back again as the story is told. Sometimes we get insight into the past or other characters like Agamemnon or his brother, things like that. I really like this kind of storytelling, and I feel like it's a fresh take on this classic story that everyone knows. It works exceptionally well here when describing these myths. I especially like how it keeps tying back to the Trojan War. As the film goes on, we get to know more and more about the war itself and Odysseus' part in it, and how it led to Odysseus' bizarre adventure home. The acting, of course, is phenomenal, with Matt Damon taking it home as Odysseus, pun intended. He is all parts of this character, and it is very believable. From a man who loves his wife to an incredibly smart and resourceful fighter and leader who can and will play underhandedly if he needs to also becoming a broken down wretch of a man mourning the loss of the life he once lived and the time he lost to spend with his loved ones, to someone who will do anything in the name of love, even if he is scared that he isn't who he believes he was anymore when he started out. He is the epitome of the hero's journey after all, and you can't have a journey without coming back changed in some way. And Damon here is just killing it. He has a few scenes where he has no dialogue, just this tired, exhausted look and disappointment in his eyes that speaks immense volumes. He's a great Odysseus, and that's all I can really say about the character. I kind of want to mention his crew here too, but they don't really offer too much. Himesh Patel plays Odie's first mate Eurylochus, and he's fine. Eurylochus is a really important character and a foil for Odysseus in general, but in this film, he's more of a mouthpiece for the crew. While that is generally true of the character, he's supposed to have a bit more of a role. He's the caution to Odie's recklessness. He's the one who gives into temptation instead of standing firm, the one who falls to defiance and treachery instead of having the others back. He's self-serving in the guise of helping the greater good. However, in this movie, he's just kind of there. He's played well and has a good, very obvious friendship with Odysseus, but his downfall isn't really gradual. I kind of wish Patel had a bit more to do with the character, because as it stands, there really wasn't much to separate him from any other crewmate. And don't even get me started on Polites. He's just there. Telemachus has a surprisingly beefy role in this, played by Tom Holland, who I will revisit shortly in the new Spider-Man film, and he is handled gloriously. He's upfront, annoyed, clearly wanting to be more than his status and circumstance is allowing, and he's a kid who desperately wants to meet the father that he can't remember. It is a great role, and Holland is eating this shit up, especially when he's playing off his mother Penelope, played wondrously by Anne Hathaway, or one of the suitor antagonists vying for his mother's hand, Antinous, played by Robert Pattinson, who frankly steals the show in the last act. There are so many other characters I could list here. This cast list is ginormous, but they feel more like cameos given their extremely small screen time. Like Zendaya as Athena, who honestly doesn't do much besides look at Odysseus judgingly a few times. I understand why she's there and why she looks the way she does, no spoilers in that regard, but she really doesn't offer much to the plot at all. And the same could be said for Helena Troy and her twin sister, both played by Lupita Nyong'o, who is fantastic for like the 3 lines that she has. John Bernthal is also a cameo here as Agamemnon's brother Menelaus. I mostly mention him and Zendaya because, hey, they're all in Spider-Man. I'll be talking about that film shortly. Otherwise, he doesn't do much, but he plays his character just fine. He and Tom Holland actually have really great on-screen chemistry together, which you can see a lot better in Spider-Man. Yeah, that's my next review if you couldn't tell. That being said though, there are a few areas where I feel this film could be improved, and others still that I feel need to be improved, but I'm not entirely sure how to go about it. The film is already overly long at 2 hours and 52 minutes, so I can understand why a lot of the story was chopped up and cut out or seen as filler. I would have liked to see those bits, but because the movie and the story is so long, there would have been no way to include it all in this one movie without splitting the story up into 2 or 3 films instead of just the one. I get that, and I think the filmmakers tried what they could to cut what would fit better into the story they were trying to tell here, but An example of that is how the film depicts the gods. Given that various gods like Poseidon, Helios, or Zeus don't appear, really just Athena, the movie tries to play into this somewhat realistic ideal for Odysseus' travel. Athena appears more as a ghost to Odie, judging him for his actions and spurring him onto Ithaca. Calypso is treated like a marooned woman with no powers at all, so it confuses me a bit when the story veers into the fantastical. Suddenly we're thrown to a real-life giant cyclops, then moving trees, sirens, a witch that can turn people into animals, etc., etc. You know what these are. Granted, almost all of these things are done practically with some truly awesome practical effects. They are the highlight of this movie. They look so good. It does feel a little strange given that the rest of the film seems like it's trying to stay at least a little grounded in reality, like it has one foot in reality, or maybe that it's trying to say that, oh, these are just the stories people are saying, it didn't actually happen. Maybe Odysseus just got into a storm, but everything else is just how he's describing it. It didn't actually happen, it's just a story. I don't know, maybe that's the interpretation they were trying to make here, but whatever. Maybe they're trying to say he was driven to hallucinate these events through his fatigue, trauma, and hunger. There is any number of interpretations here, so I'm not gonna hark on that too bad. Overall though, I think this movie is incredibly solid. It is not as amazing as people are saying. There are a lot of areas for improvement, in my opinion at least, but it is worth it to see it in IMAX for the full experience and enjoy this timeless classic story in a new, appropriate, epic fashion. Just, bring some earplugs because that Polyphemus scream is one of the loudest in cinematic history. I think The Dark Knight Rises is slightly louder, but it's still loud. Overall, great work, Christopher Nolan. This is definitely a Nolan movie, so if you like Nolan movies, you'll like this. So by all means, give this one a watch. So ultimately, the Odyssey gets an 8 out of 10 from me. Hey guys, thanks for sticking around for another one. I'm trying to get my backlog back together. I saw Spider-Man. I'm gonna try and get that review as well done this week. Oh my God. So crazy being busy, trying to get another project off the ground. I don't even know if I'll be able to do that, if it's realistic or not. This is such a weird time, and I'm so tired. So tired, so annoyed, but whatever. Working through it. Doing as best I can. That's all I can ask. And yeah, so many movies. There's so many movies. I know I've missed a few as well. I actually just saw a notice today that Eli Roth's Ice Cream Man movie is coming out. I'm not a really big Eli Roth fan, and I saw the news about that, so I probably will not review it because, hey, it has a lot of generative AI added into it, and Eli Roth is extremely proud of that. So I probably will not be giving him my money. I know I had an interesting take where my Late Night with the Devil review, because that film had a couple of solid pictures that were AI generated that I disparaged. I didn't think it was a good look. I didn't think it was a good idea. They could have really just hired someone or just gone into clip art and made it themselves. But this is sounding like Eli Roth put in full AI generated videos. So I feel like that's kind of the worst aspect of it. So I'm not going to support that if it's true. I don't know. We'll also see, because I'm hearing word that the movie just sucks, but who knows? We'll see. We got a whole bunch of other films coming out. I'm really excited for End of Oak Street just because I'm a dinosaur nerd. I love the dinosaur movies, and the last Jurassic World movie really hurt my heart. But I don't know. What did you guys think of the Odyssey? I know it's a huge epic right now. It's really interesting. It's fun. All the wrong reasons. I didn't want to touch on the politics. Oh, why is Helena Troy played by a black woman? Okay, who cares? Shut up. She had 5 minutes of screen time and 3 lines. You can relax. But anyway, let me know what you guys thought in the comments below. After that, don't forget to like this video, subscribe, ring that bell so you don't miss a video. And yeah, that's it. Have a great day, and if you're not, have a better one. See ya.
I'm just a ghost in your stereo, the fading memory of a shipwreck in the undertow. You're just a lost soul, and I'm just a ghost in your stereo.